Well, we're live. And we're live. Hi, everyone. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. It's my pleasure to host today's webinar with Lionel and Marius from Bayer Digital Farming Solutions team. It's 1:01. I'll wait maybe for an extra minute so that everyone can connect before we start. We have, yes, 20, 25, 26 people that are slowly arriving. In terms of logistics, so Lionel, Marius, and I will be presenting the challenges, topics, but also reasons and overall timeline. We'll be happy to answer all your questions. If you look at the bottom right of your tab, you'll see a questions tab or chat tab. Should you have any questions, you can put them in the questions tab, and you can also upvote them, meaning that if you really want us to answer that particular question, you can put a thumbs up on it, and we'll make sure to answer it as a priority. So let's wait maybe until 1:02, and then we'll be able to start. And it's 1:02. Amazing. All right, so here we are again. Third time that we're partnering with Bayer Crop Science, this time with Bayer Digital Farming Solutions. So I think for today's session, we'll have four main topics. First of all, just a little recap on Bayer Crop Science, but notably its Digital Farming Solutions unit, so that you fully understand who is behind and what are their key topics. The challenge, so the three topics that have been decided on for the challenge, and so the solutions that we're actively looking for. Its timeline, we're currently in the sourcing phase, and then lastly, you'll be able to ask us all of your burning questions. So Lionel, Marius, I can give the mic to you to introduce Bayer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chloe. So first of all, maybe we can quickly introduce ourselves with Marius. So I'm Lionel Alexandre. I'm part of what we call digital farming solution in Bayer Crop Science, and I'm leading the EMEA Carbon Initiative as we work for the EMEA region. Marius, you want to step in?
No, I'm also part of the digital farming team, and I'm also leading a venture team, just like Lionel is doing.
Thank you, Marius. So the idea of today, guys, is to give you a bit of a glance of who are we, for the one that don't know us, and why we have opened this challenge with Hello Tomorrow, and to give you a bit of the feeling of what we are looking for by creating this connection with you. So first of all, let me introduce you to who we are. So as you know, Bayer Crop Science is a global company that have activities all across the globe. We are focusing on solutions for the growers over the planet on many type of crops, many type of regions, to serve these growers and to help them basically to produce and to bring the food to all the people over the planet. So the big change that we can observe today on the globe is some big mega trends that are connected to our work. So first of all, of course, we have to face a growing population, and these people need to eat, need to secure their food supply. We see that there are also huge change in the consumption of food. For example, we know that protein, for example, is shifting very strongly to different type of source of protein. Attention to the different ecosystem is a major one. So I'm in charge for me on every topic linked to sustainability in Bayer Crop Science and new business development. We see a huge trend that are popping up all across the planet around the attention to all the ecosystems. So of course, sustainability is very much in the focus of own this system. So for example, in EMEA, we are also having the EU. Probably some of you have heard about the Green Deal, and that's a very important pillar, of course, of our strategy and of the growers' everyday's life. And then once we have said all this, there is one element that is also major, is that technology is moving. And as we said, we are part of the digital farming solution team. So that means digital is pretty much at the heart of our daily life, and that's why we are looking for new solutions. So Bayer is of course implementing new solutions. We have our own technologies with climate view, for example, but we are also pretty open to partner and to share with startups or other companies that can have solutions that are not currently present in our portfolios. So that's why we are also opening this kind of conversation today. Talking a little bit more about the strategy of Bayer Crop Science. And today there is a big ambition in our group, focusing in 2025, is to become the game changer in agriculture and embracing farming and food chains. So that means what we want to bring to the growers, what we want to bring to the market, are based on four main pillars. The first one is indeed linked to sustainability, as we said before. We really want to bring solutions that will help the growers to match the overall challenge that they have to face regarding every type of topic linked to sustainability. The second one is, of course, the connection with the food chain, with the value chain, because growers are growing crop to produce food, and this food can be processed. And that means we, of course, want to embrace this food chain requirement and this food chain priorities also. Another one is linked to agronomy. Of course, that's our core business. We want to focus on agronomy. We want to make sure that all the knowledge is properly shared, that we are supporting the growers to bring the best solution to grow their crop on the most efficient way and the more sustainable way. And that's why here, definitely, digital has a huge place. We talk a lot about digital farming, where digital can help to monitor, to trace, to anticipate, to reduce the use of certain products, to optimize yield. So here, agronomy is, in our mind, really much linked to digital and to the help of digital linked to agronomy. And the fourth, but not the least, indeed, as I said, we have a global footprint in Bayer Crop Science, and there are places in the world where we are facing a different type of growers that we are usually meeting in Europe, for example. We call them the smallholders. That are all the growers, mainly located in Africa, in Asia, and in South America, that are very small farms, but that are always stressing to access to the good technology. So we want also to support these smallholders to access to new technology and to improve their way of farming. Marius, do you want to take this one?
Right. So also to a bit emphasize that in Bayer, we're really serious about that. So we represent a team in Bayer that's called Digital Farming Solutions, and we are all about the challenges that we've listed before. So what we really believe is that the next breakthrough in agriculture will come from data and analytics for better decisions. And that can be many decisions. So for example, some of the work that I'm doing with my team is around better helping cereal growers decide how to manage diseases in their crop. But there are also many others around how to make the best planting decisions, for example. And we're doing that to really help the world's farmers sustainably increase their productivity through digital tools. So we want to really help farmers take better decisions, be more sustainable in their operations, and at the same time still have a good yield on the field, because again, we still have a growing population and we still want to be able to have enough food on the farms. And we want to achieve a more sustainable food system through a farmer-centric, outcomes-based and digitally enabled approach. What that means is really, first of all, we want to be farmer-centric. So we want to organize ourselves around the needs of the customer and not just push individual product solutions to them. We want to move to an outcomes-based approach where it's not just about selling increased volumes of inputs, but we want to help farmers achieve the outcomes that they're looking for. That could be yields, that could be a certain reduction of their footprint, that could be a disease-free field, or could be a number of other outcomes. And we're doing that through a digitally enabled approach. So we always want to bundle digital technology with the work and the decisions that farmers are taking. Moving forward, this is how we are organized as digital farming. So we have one major digital platform, which is Climate Field View. This is a commercial product already that already thousands of farmers across Europe are using. Then we have these new business model venture teams, and both Lionel and I lead one of these venture teams to explore and develop new business models in different areas. And we also have a digital transformation team that we're working with to transform also Bayer's core business, because we're not just acting on our own. We really want to help Bayer as a whole transform to deliver new business models. So we have also strong links across the organization. So while we are just one team within Bayer, we are really spearheading a lot of activities and working across different teams, across data, across strategy teams, across commercial teams, and really accelerate our efforts in this space. Well, again, just to underline, Bayer is really taking this seriously. We're investing in this space. We are developing our own business model in this space. So this is not just a nice to have. This is really for us very, very important, and also a very strong commitment. And that's why we as Digital Farming Solutions really are very happy to have this session and find collaboration opportunities here. Lionel, you want to introduce the challenge?
Yeah, sure. So this challenge, as we said, so we are pretty on all this question of how can we improve the life of the growers all across the globe. And even if we are very proud of our team, very proud of our R&D, very proud of all our knowledge, we are sometimes facing, of course, issues. And that's where we do believe that the logic of sometimes going to crowd ideation, crowdsourcing could be also extremely interesting. And that's why we want to also open some of our daily challenge to the external world of Bayer. And we think that it could be a very interesting win-win situation because, of course, this company that will potentially help us to solve this problem would gain to access the type of footprint that we can provide. We benefit from expertise to work with experts from Bayer. And of course, we'll be able to test and to maybe scale up at a higher speed. So the three main challenges that we wanted to share with you today are the following. So the first one, and it's extremely related to our topic of Marius and I, is how could we optimize the field monitoring system? Basically, how can we make sure that we would be able to collect in a more efficient way data from the field, whether they are related to disease management on certain crops. So how can we optimize the identification of weeds, of certain disease? How can we find better models that could help to better anticipate this? How can we make sure that we would be able to measure soil organic carbon on the ground without running a soil sampling, maybe using satellite imagery? So these are the kind of open topics that we have and that we would be really curious to understand on who could help us to accelerate this, because new technology are popping up all across the globe every day. So we would be extremely curious to and interested to find partners to help us on that direction. The second one is linked to universal data and optimized interoperability. I think you all work in digital, so you are all facing every day the challenge to how can we get the good data, and how could we make sure that this data is properly used and is properly interacting with the different system or the different machinery that we have. So this is a challenge that we have today. Climate Field View, for example, in our company, and this is the aim of Climate Field View is indeed to interconnect with the grower farm and with the grower machinery. So if the grower has a class combine harvester and a John Deere tractor, how do we make sure that all this is able to communicate properly? When the farmer is building his field boundaries, how can we make sure that this will be compatible with the other system if we want to optimize the use of different systems? So all this dimension of universal data is something that, if we would be able to scale up on this one, would be probably something that could be extremely disruptive and accelerate certain type of development. And the last one is a more open one. It's linked to customer experience. And in fact, in customer experience, when we talk about digital, sometimes it could be easy and sometimes it could be less easy, because very often the question of digital starts by hardware. And how do we make sure that when a farmer want to bring something to digital on his farm, everything goes well? So it starts by the hardware, but then it goes to the software, and sometimes it goes to the daily life, because it's like every one of us. When you use something only every 2 months or every 6 months, you sometimes are not really used to it. So you are struggling. And of course, we know that having a proper hotline or a proper customer service that help to make this experience as seamless as possible could also be part of the equation. So how could we optimize this customer experience and this user experience finally in the daily life of a digital user on a farm? So that's part of the three buckets that we would be extremely interested to see you guys applying for. So once more, optimizing the monitoring system on the field, uh, making the data more compatible, more, let's say, universal, and optimizing the user experience when talking about digital. So now we will be super happy to have, of course, you applying for this if you have any solution in your hands that could help us to move faster and better on these topics. I think now, Chloe, you will explain a little bit about the timeline and the next steps for the one that would be interested to apply.
Exactly. Thank you both for your presentation. So, just overall, the challenges, timeline, and key next steps. So, applications have been open since September 22nd, and we're currently actively sourcing and recruiting startups, young enterprises, companies for them to apply to this challenge. So, today, our Q&A webinar. Again, feel free to ask any lingering questions that you may have in the questions tab. So, we'll be able to answer them right after my presentation of this timeline. Applications close on November 6th, so that is in 3 weeks' time. We have a dedicated application platform for you guys to apply to the challenge, which with quite a thorough application form. After November 6th, we will have the evaluation, so from buyer's team and alignment calls. By alignment calls, we mean that buyer and a few selected startups will be able to actively interact with each other to understand what are their key goals, differences, maybe needs, making sure that everyone is, like the word says, aligned. Finalists will be announced at the end of November because we will have a challenge final event on December 12th with a pitch event. So the finalists will be able to pitch live in front of buyers' teams for this particular challenge. Once finalists have been announced, before that pitch, we will prepare you for the pitch, actively reviewing your pitch, whether it is orally, but also the content of your presentation, making sure that the messages really hit home with the jury. So, without further ado, I think that we've covered most of the challenges topics, eligibility criteria. Now, you guys, should you have any questions, I see that there are quite a few people that are connected right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them right in the chat or in the questions tab. So I think I already have a question. So depending on Lionel or Marius, which one of you wants to take it? So from Rasmus, what startup stage are you looking for? Pre-seed, seed, etc.
Yeah, we currently are looking for not too early stages, let's say. We would like to hopefully get to certain stages that are kind of close to pre-commercial or commercial, because that's our idea is really to be able to engage and to activate this kind of pre-commercial or commercial stage as soon as possible.
Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. So quite further along in terms of TRL. I have another question. So if the company is not a startup and already has extensive expertise in digital farming, does it work for you?
Oh, yes, definitely. No, definitely. We are fairly happy to engage with any relevant solution. So, we have currently a partnership overall strategy in our company, and that's not only focusing towards startups. If we because we want to, let's say, we want to support and to help and to generate some interest also from the startup ecosystem, because there is tremendous ideas, tremendous dynamics in there. But we are also fairly open to non-startup potentially, yeah, or more mature startups that are maybe not startup anymore.
Yes, it is true that we tend to use the word startup quite a lot. And I think that, Diana, we had a call a few days back, and indeed, it doesn't necessarily apply here. It's mostly innovative solutions. Another question. So from Fabien, do you plan on funding collaborations with selected applicants, and how would that work?
Yeah, so that's a very good question indeed. It's I would say it's a possibility. So in Bayer we have a team that is focusing on minority investment. So they are called LEAPs, and they are of course extremely open of potential, let's say, opportunity to collaborate. So the aim of this challenge is not this one, clearly, but if that could make sense and we find the solution that we found could be extremely interesting or relevant for Bayer to partner further than what we aim to do at that stage, that's definitely a solution that could be definitely in the part of the next steps.
Very clear. Thank you, Lionel. I'm trying to filter because there are a lot of questions that are happening. So maybe from Xenia, how many startups will be selected, and what can teams expect if they are finally selected?
Yeah. So let's say how many startups? We have three topics. So would be kind of obvious to have three, let's say, finalists or three winners. But let's say we don't have a kind of mental fixedness on this one. So if we find several topics that could be relevant to pursue, and here you have two people with Marius and I that are in charge of two different ventures, but we have some other colleagues that are also in charge of several of other type of ventures, and so maybe you guys will come with solution that could be also of interest for our colleagues. So maybe we will end up, and if you guys are bringing tremendous solution, we can definitely imagine that we could go for more than three potentially.
Just to back that up a little bit, so in each of our ventures, we have dedicated partners that we're already working with. And these are companies big and small. So I'm personally working with a more specialized modeling company that is really specific to my venture. So they are developing agronomic models. And that's a specific need that we have in my venture team. But we're also working with non-agri-tech companies, both within the ventures, for example, to do technology development or prototyping. But we also have venture overarching collaborations. So whenever there are enabling technologies that we feel help multiple of the ventures we're driving, then that's absolutely welcome. It really depends on the kind of technology and the scope that the company has.
Thank you, Marius. I think it joins what Kevin was asking. So the fact that they're not an agri-tech company, so it's not their main use case. However, they work on data interoperability, sensor fusion.
Yeah.
They're still eligible.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So moving on. So how many startups are selected? And then we had a question that was quite upvoted. What are your selection criteria?
So we have on this one we have kind of 5 selection criteria that we will use to make this selection. The first one is about the technological innovation that you guys will bring to the table. The second one will be the fit with the use case. So of course, if you answer the question or not, then we go to a bit something close to the maturity, and the question of the maturity is about what the concept feasibility. So where do you stand on your road to, let's say, scaling up your solution? So that will be an important one also. Then the two last one are, let's say, maybe a bit less qualitative. They are less quantitative, they're a bit more qualitative, sorry. The one is what would be the potential for co-creation? That means what the fit between you and us, and what we could bring to you to help you scaling up, and what you could bring to us to scale up our strategy. So the fit, let's say, of the strategy will be something quite important, because that's very often one of the key of success. And the last one is about the quality of your team. So we will hear you. Do not hesitate to really also communicate on you guys, on you and your team, because human being, even if in Bayer we are a super big company in terms of footprint, number of people, etc., humans are very important for us. So we need also to have the right fit with the people, and to feel that the people that we will have in front of us and we might partner with are people that there is a sense to work with these people. So do not hesitate also to highlight this human dimension that you have in your project.
Thank you, Lionel. I think a question that I've already been asked by Andy. So related to field view that you already have, what would this challenge be about? Is it a way to improve the platform? Is it a new platform that you're thinking of?
You want
It
to take it,
depends.
Marius?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can take it. So, I mean, FieldView is an important platform for us, clearly. And FieldView focuses mainly on agronomy and on broadacre crops. So, for example, on corn or soy or wheat. So that's where FieldView is really, really strong. Where it's currently not strong, but where we do have an interest is, for example, in fruit and vegetables, which is also an important crop or important category in Europe. And also, FieldView is currently not doing a lot of things we would like it to do. So when it comes to aggregating data from different sources, when it comes to predicting certain conditions within the field, that's where we're currently hoping to expand. So we're seeing FieldView as an important ecosystem and that we want to grow. So definitely that's something where we can talk about integration or enhancements or anything like that. However, we also are working on digital ecosystems outside of FieldView because, again, it has a certain focus and it might not be the right platform for every grower or for every type of task.
And just to build on this one, I think FieldView could also be a way to improve somehow maybe your solutions, because FieldView is collecting certain amount of data. We already have accessing a certain amount of farmers across Europe with this solution. So definitely that could be also a nice, when I was saying we have to think about the fit between the two, that could be also one. But yeah, fully aligned with Marius' answer.
Thank you both. So maybe staying with that topic, Sarab has a question related to data sets. So for agtech companies obtaining enough data sets for machine learning models, it is a very big challenge. So can buyer support field data access and how to approach it?
I mean, accessing field data and helping growers to manage that, that's what FieldView is really about. And that's also the key to unlocking a lot of the opportunities in digital agriculture. I would not say we have it fully solved because also we are seeing that actually collecting and interpreting and doing something useful with the data is a very, very big task. And that's why also we in Bayer, we can't do it alone. This is one of the reasons why we're doing challenges like this one, because we also need to partner there. Having said that, we do have access to a good amount of data. I mean, as I said earlier, we have a couple of thousand growers across Europe using FieldView already in their farming operations. And that, of course, generates a good amount of data. And depending on how a collaboration might work, then using that data is definitely an option. But it really depends here.
Thank you, Marius. I'm scrolling at our questions. Maybe another one would be, so would you offer expert knowledge, i.e. getting thought leaders and industry experts to ideate and prototype with selected applicants on innovative topics?
Yeah, so definitely. So that's really the way we see the immediate kind of collaboration and part of the added value because of in our footprint. So depending on your solution, if your solution is more targeting to a kind of an area of technologies or a given region, that's where we do believe that having the footprint that we have, we can definitely bring this and indeed helping you guys to scale up or to finalize or to ideate on the next step or the actual step of your solution. That the way we see the interest of this challenge. So definitely yes. So we have experts that we can activate either from pure agronomical expert, either from digital expertise, either from commercial expertise. So we do have this kind of skill set that we definitely have in our mind this to be leveraged in the potential future collaboration that we could bring together.
Yeah. And just to back that up, prototyping is actually a big part of the work that myself and Lionel and many of the other team leads and teams do. So this is exactly how we think about this. So we also know that we need to work with customers, we need to work with farmers, with others across the value chain to find the best solution. And prototyping is the way to do that. Like you want to be able to show something and get feedback on that. So that's absolutely how we think as well, and that requires a collaborative setup.
Thank you both. So I think, do we have any more questions from the crowd? Oh, thanks. Perfect timing. Thank you, Lynn. What is Hello Tomorrow's role in the challenge? I think I'll take that one. We've been working with Bayer Crop Science for the past 3 years now, and our goal is to actively source your emerging solutions. So once we've had the topics that have been framed by Bayer, we've identified what their key challenges are. Our goal is to do this and reach out to you and make sure that there's a perfect fit between the two of you, so you eventually end up in a successful collaboration. So we'll be there pretty much every step of the way. So we're here for the sourcing, and then we'll be there for the alignment calls, making sure that you both understand what are your needs, expectations, if you're overall on the same page. And then we'll also be there during the final pitch event. We'll help you out, prepare for your pitch. Pretty much through every step of the way.
And maybe one thing on this last pitch event. So for the one that will be happy to travel to Lyon, because this pitch event will be hosted in Lyon, because in Lyon we have what in Bayer Crop Science we call a life hub. So these are kind of hub of innovation, let's say, and we have some life hub all around the globe. So one of the one we have in Europe is hosted in Lyon, on one of our R&D center. So the live event will be in Lyon. So if any of you want or can travel to Lyon for this, of course, you'll be more than welcome to do it in presential. Otherwise, it will be, of course, online.
That is true. If anyone, by the way, is interested in seeing, we have the 2 last pitch sessions that were recorded. And so you can also see what were the previous solutions that pitched, what the Life Hub looks like, what the event looks like. Yes, Vincent from Hello Tomorrow's team was already there for the past 2 years with me, and we can approve that if you have the opportunity to go, you should definitely go, for sure. Is there any last questions for the crowd? I think that we've had quite a few. Thank you all for this active participation.
And I think, Chloe, if there would be any further question, of course, after this call, people can, of course, get directly to Hello Tomorrow to ask further questions. That will be, of course, Marius, I, and the rest of the team very happy to answer. Maybe a last one, because I realized we didn't put it in the presentation, and we didn't get any question on this one, is about the jury. So do you want to say a word, Chloe, on the way it's organized and how the jury is organized, and maybe you can say some few ones on who is on the jury on our side?
Please feel free. I mean, so the question was notably about the selection criteria, but it is true that behind there is a jury that is actively going to select and evaluate. So once we've had, November 6th is application deadline. Us at Hello Tomorrow will review the big package of applications that will have been submitted, and then we'll forward them to Bayer Crop Science, who already has its jury, but you know way more about the components of it.
And just for you to understand who will be part of this decision-making process. So we will have people that have basically the same type of role that Marius and I that are eventually on other topics. So one of them is more focusing on agronomy, really agronomy and the let's say agronomic topics. One is more linked to e-commerce. So every commerce linked to digital, and then we got two people. That one is really an expert in terms of digital system, so he's a product manager, and the other one is more focusing on partnership. So he's really involved very actively in the partnership development that we want to develop in EMEA. So it could be part of the one, could be answered also the next step, potentially going to VC logic. So that's for you to know that there is this setup of expert that you will have the chance, I hope, to meet, and we will have the chance to meet you very soon. So that was just for you to get this a bit of hint about how it works in terms of the selection process, maybe.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lionel. Very complimentary team. I think that if there aren't any other questions, so like Lionel was saying, obviously you are capable of asking us any question that you may have after that. So this session was recorded and we'll upload it on Hello Tomorrow's landing page regarding the challenge for you to review should you desire to, need to. And you will also have access to our email addresses so you can directly send us other burning questions that you may have, whether they are regarding the challenge or the way in which you need to fill out your application. Feel free to reach out to us should you need anything. On that note, I think we'll wrap it up. So thank you again so much, Lionel and Marius, for taking the time to speak with us today, for taking the time to present the challenge. Thank you, Vincent, for the recap challenges landing page and then the application form as well. Looking forward to potentially reviewing your applications in the weeks to come. And again, feel free to reach out to us should you need anything.
Thank you very much, Clay, and thank you, everyone. Hoping to see you very soon.
Thank you both. Thank you all for connecting. Have a great end of day.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.